Welcome back. We're on part 2, even though it's the same time that you saw the first episode come out. Part 2 of what's going to be our reassembly phase. We've pulled the towels off of the valve cover and just laid it in place so we don't have to worry about anything falling in there. So it should look something like that when it's close to done. We have scrubbed and cleaned and scrubbed and cleaned and cleaned and scrubbed the housings where the water pump, thermostat, and coolant pipes all go. We forgot that there is a fill on the bottom, so we did go back and shove the hose and the fill on the bottom. And now we're going to reinstall our thermostat, which with a pin going north or up towards the top of the motor.
I think that's actually called, it might be improperly called a jiggler valve.
A jiggler valve.
Goes on top.
Goes on top, and then you're going to take the housing, which you last saw looking pretty horrifying, and it now looks like this. So we wire brushed this and we cleaned it all up on the outside. It's still obviously got some corrosion and whatnot in there, but this is as good as I can get it. I mean, this is a lot of effort to get it this good. So to do this, you're going to take some black silicone. Pretty much what Nissan recommends you use as a gasket.
For everything.
For everything. Everything ever is gray. Sometimes you need the high temp stuff. You're going to start squeezing it up top. Hopefully we got this to where it's going to squeeze up top. Okay, so once you get another tube of black RTV, because we fucked up the first one, and you always keep 1 or 2 of these on hand, you're going to make your own gasket. And there's different ways that people believe you're supposed to do this. You're just going to take your time. Put a nice bead gasket here. Just a little bit light there. The big thing is to do one continuous bead. I went around the bolt holes, which you don't really need to do, but I did it anyways because it's off. And this is all you really need, and you just want to give it a nice firm push over where the bolt should go. You don't want to twist it too much, and you want to run your bolts in evenly around the outside. Around the outside. Alright, so last little pro tip is if you put one bolt in, it'll help you get the others lined up instead of trying to put all 3 in or none in. So what you're going to do...
Teamwork here.
That's a little bit too much movement for my liking. And Mike brought it right back out because you started by hand. Okay, and that's all you really need to do. And then you just put your next ones in. I got it. And you don't want to send them all the way home until you got all 3 in. And you might even want to do that by hand. Because if you put a power tool on it when you try to tighten them up, you might end up breaking one right off. You're gonna power tool them, you'll be brave, and off the Mike's checking them by hand with the tool, because that tool can do that. Alright, and it's important to remember now that's done. If you can, some people can't, you want to let the RTV sit for anywhere from 24 hours. That's probably what the tube says. Some people wait 24 minutes, but we're not going to be starting the car for a while, so even if the gasket was a little twisted, there's gasket maker all over the face of that, it's going to be okay. So now we're going to put, I think, the water pump back on. Yep. So this is our new water pump. This is our old one, and the reason I'm showing you all this nonsense is that these, you call them dowels or studs, were originally in this. They twist off. 3 out of the 4 of these were loose to my touch when we pulled this water pump off, but they do have a base where if you're very careful, you can take a pair of vice grips, reach over the threads, and then you can pinch it, and you can turn them loose if you need to, if they're tight. And then you just do want to be careful that when you spin this, you're spinning the whole pump, so don't let it grind into your hand. And they don't need to be super tight. They just need to be tight enough that they're not going to fall off. So these are on there nice and good. We'll put some RTV on the back of this and reinstall it. This is an OEM Nissan water pump. Alright, let's reach down in here and just very carefully put this in place. Start tightening this on. So, SRs are notorious for being a very warm-blooded motor, I'll put it that way. So whenever you can, if you have the means to when you first pick yours up or anything, go ahead and replace your water pump when you're doing all this nonsense. I love this tool. It's a great tool. Mike dropped the bolt, and it is lodged
On the floor.
on the floor. Good. On the floor.
I'd rather.
Yeah, on the floor all the time. So when you're doing this, you're really buying yourself some insurance by changing out your water pump, changing out your thermostat, and you saw what we came across with this. So if you don't know the history of your S13 or your car and you're watching this, and you just picked it up and you plan to drive it hard or you plan to drive it every day, these are a couple things that go above your standard oil changes that you should probably put on the map to do in the distant future. So one of the things that we're doing here while we're in here is I got a cheap set on Black Friday of lightweight pulleys from Cusco Sports or Circuit Sports or whoever sold them to me. So Mike's going to pull off that alternator bolt.
Yeah, we've got a lightweight water pump pulley, alternator pulley, and power steering. But we're not sure how to do the power steering pulley.
Power steering pulley's got us for a loop here. Yeah. We're missing something simple.
But for the alternator, you're just going to grab onto the pulley, put an impact on it.
What size is that?
24.
24, so you're 24 millimeter.
And takes the nut right off, and the pulley comes off like such. This is our new lightweight alternator pulley that will give us super massive gains in horsepower.
Super massive gains.
Put the nut back on. Hold on to the pulley. And it's good.
Does it spin? Does it spin?
It spins.
We have our Mishimoto radiator, our OEM fan shroud that someone cut a very nice chunk out of the side of, and I really don't know why they would have done that. Nicely enough on this unit, they have bolt holes to reuse the factory mount points for the top of the shroud, but the bolt holes on the left, right, and sides are unsecured. So we might try to zip tie this, but honestly it should be fine. This is not subjected to a lot of force. We're gonna try to get this in the car tonight, and then, you know, go from there. Okay, pull out the... Ready? So we're going through a lot of effort to get the factory shroud back down in here, because a lot of people pull this out and get rid of it, but the factory shroud is one of the best ways to cool your motor.
Clutch fans move way more air than electric fans.
But it's very hard to maintain them as you upgrade, because they're not designed for this system. We gotta get down below. Hold on, where are we? Hold on.
We're stuck on everything. I think we might have to take the roof off.
That's the best plan.
There we go. Hey! Now the fun part is securing the fan to that pulley.
So we have the lightweight pulley set in for the alternator and the water pump. I don't know if it's because it's the Hickus model. We couldn't figure out how to get that power steering pump off, and where we are located there's very little phone service, so we weren't Googling anything for our phones. That's to our credit. I'm gonna throw that out there. We don't have phone service out here, so if we hit a brick wall, it's me and Mike trying to figure it out, or we just stop and go home, but we usually just figure our way through it.
Sometimes playing butt darts help.
Sometimes. We're probably gonna need to cut that just a bit. Probably an inch from each end. More. Inch and a half on each end.
No. All we need to trim off
is an inch.
I would trim an inch off this end.
An inch off that end, yeah. Yep. Alright, so because we're running a 3-core radiator, and they never really know these, this is an aftermarket set of hoses that I got from FRS Sport on Black Friday. They're braided HPS. I thought it was a Samco hose set that I ordered, but you know, these will work. This is a poor mod's car, not the 8.6, so whatever. But because they don't know what size radiator you're going to use, you do need to sometime adjust these So we're gonna get these installed, these pretty blue hoses. But this is coming together. This is coming together. So I don't have any real big mechanical issues. We're gonna keep on going. You'll keep getting videos on this as Mike chooses to upload them.
So I cut off about this much of the hose, it's about an inch, and it seems to be fitting pretty well.
I'm getting this ready to go back on the car. I gotta get the 13 washers that are needed around the valve cover, and we'll go from there. So keep tuned, and we'll see you guys next time.